he said he'll teach me if I pay him $15K. And keep in mind, like, I'm young. I'm just dropped out of university.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of money.
I know another guy who wants $15K to teach me something as well.
Oh yeah. You know that.
Yeah, I know somebody like that.
Oh yeah. What ended up happening was I took credit card loans. I took like 4 or 5 credit card loans. I'm like, if I can get the knowledge.
Can I pause you for a sec?
Yeah.
That's some G shit. Just putting it out there.
Yeah.
He's betting on himself right now.
Yeah,
he's literally going all in. You're like, yo, I don't go fuck this.
Yeah.
Yo, you could have fucked yourself up.
100%.
But that's some G shit. Not everybody has the balls to do that. But please continue.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, it was definitely a big move for me because $15K, like $1,000 is big for me, right? When I was young, but I believed in myself. I'm like, the only thing holding me is the knowledge, and I knew, like, and again, reading that book, Think and Grow Rich, until you don't put yourself over the edge, you're not really gonna get anywhere because you're putting yourself at the edge. Either you succeed or fail. And so that's what I thought. That's the mindset I went in with. 15K, and kid you not, in a month and a half working with him, I made around 30K on my first assignment deal.
Wow. Welcome back to another episode of Wealth is Possible. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about multifamily real estate development. We got Airbnb rentals, all that stuff. We're going to be talking that with Junaid today. So Junaid's actually been in the industry for about 2.5 years. He's been wholesaling 2.5 years ago and has been working on multifamily deals, wholesaling, and developments ever since. But yo, within those 2.5 years, this guy's been going buck, bro. This guy's been going buck still, you know? So this is our boy Junaid. He's going to talk about all those things and much, much more. So what's up, bro?
Amazing, man. Heaven, thanks for having me on the show.
Fantastic.
So I've known Heaven for a minute now.
Yes.
And we met back, I believe, 2.5 years ago.
2.5 years ago. So, yo, we actually tried out to be wholesalers for this well-known wholesaler. Only real estate mans would know this. But Matt McKeever, we were at this guy's house, and then we're about to join his wholesale team. And that's where I met Junaid. And then, you know, we're just like-minded individuals. And we're like, yo, this guy's sick, you know? So then we just kind of stayed in touch. He was doing his own thing. I did my own thing. And he's been doing it up. I'll tell you guys that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's been doing it up. So
now we're here, man. Honestly, like, I appreciate, you know, you inviting us here. I don't do a lot of podcasts. I've only been in one podcast and prior to this, like Rise Network.
Yeah.
And definitely a space that I'm definitely looking to get into.
It's fun, bro.
It is fun.
It's fun. You know? There's so many sick things that come out of podcasts.
Yeah. And it's the people that you meet, right? The relationship you build, the knowledge that you gain from other people, and the perspective of other people, how they look at real estate, how they look at investing, how they look at life. So definitely a very good thing.
Yeah.
All right, so let's just jump right into it. So like, what was like your life like before real estate? Like, what made you jump into the wholesaling? Back when you jumped in, what made you make that decision to jump into wholesaling? Yeah,
so my journey started back 2.5 years ago. So I'll tell you a little bit about my background. So I was studying construction management at George Brown College.
Jeez.
And you know, that's what I wanted to do. And then after that, after I graduated from a 3-year program, I started working for a construction company as their site super, and worked there for 7 months. Honestly, it was a big opportunity for me, especially coming out of a college and finding an opportunity like that.
Was it a co-op thing or?
It wasn't a co-op thing.
Oh shit! Okay.
Yeah.
So you're getting paid.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I actually went into their interview and I just told the guy, I'm like, listen, you know, I have a lot of knowledge. I don't have experience, but you know, there's definitely some value I can add to your company.
Yeah.
And he understood me. He saw that I was young, inspired, motivated, and so he's like, I'll give you a chance, right? I was in there for 7 months. Honestly, it was a lot of work, but I learned a lot. But slowly I figured out that's not something I wanted to do. So and then I started pursuing civil engineering. So I did a bridge program from George Brown to McMaster University.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, you know what? Let me try civil engineering. It pays more. Maybe that's something I want to do. So I ended up going to McMaster University. And I'm so humble because I dropped out after the first semester.
It's that hectic.
It was that hectic. And second thing, what I noticed was a lot of the things they were teaching, you didn't really need to know that, you know, the soil or, you know, how things work. And their math was, oh my God, don't even get me started. Really? It's insane, right? So I was just looking, and back then I was very big in personal development, and I'm sure I'm even now. Yeah. But back then I was very inspired. Like I used to have a miracle morning. That's where I would like wake up early. I would read. I would meditate. I would visualize affirmation.
What got you started with the personal development? Like,
I read a book. Okay, so I think everything tied back to me reading.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people, they don't know what they don't know.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah, we say that
a lot on the podcast.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And so, you know, I came across certain knowledge, and I figured out that I wanted more with my life. And so I read this book, Miracle Morning, and from there I picked up their 5 habits that they have, where you wake up early, you meditate, you work out, you do affirmation, visualization, and gratitude journal, right? So it made a big difference in my life because I was really big in personal development. At that point, I was living alone in a room, a shitty room in the basement of a rooming house near McMaster University. So I had a lot of time. And so one day I just randomly signed up for a real estate program I saw online as an advertisement. And so I'm like, cool, nothing to lose. I signed up.
Why did that stand out to you at the time?
Honestly, because I saw what other people were doing in real estate. I didn't know much about real estate, but I know that's definitely
the money was in real estate.
Exactly, the money is in real estate, right? And for me, I had the mindset I wanted to pursue something. I knew how I wanted my life to turn out, but the only thing I was missing was the vehicle to get me there, right? So I'm like, okay, sounds good. It's an opportunity. I signed up. I'm like, no, what's the worst thing gonna happen?
What's the worst thing gonna happen? It's free, right?
It's free. Exactly.
Okay, there you go. Free is a good number.
And so I remember coming after my class one day, and I got an email notification that this webinar that I signed up for is finishing in 10 minutes. I'm like, shit. I'm like, okay, sounds good. I'll just join in for 10 minutes. Whatever. It is what it is. Man, I joined in, and when I joined in, all I could hear was, hey, join our course, because they went through the whole speech of real estate, and they're like, okay, join our course to learn more. I'm like, interesting. I'm like, okay, it was a $50 course. I'm like, what's the worst?
$50?
$50. Yeah.
Okay, bro, you can't go wrong.
I'm like, I can't go wrong with that. It's something new. I'll learn. And so I joined their course, and dude, I started learning. At that point, I started learning. I'm like, wow, people are making that much money just in real estate. Yeah. And so I'm like, you know what? Let me keep learning.
What exactly were they doing in real estate? Was it like wholesaling, or was it
wholesaling, flipping, borrowing? But what got my attention was wholesaling, because
was this through Matt McKeever, or was it any?
It was Cash Flow Tribe.
That was the sign that was outside? No, wait, I didn't even know they had signs.
No, not the Matt McKeever's mansion. Yeah. This was like before, like they had their online event when they were getting more people in their
the
course.
Cash Flow Tribe.
The Cash Flow Tribe.
But I didn't know they had actual like signs outside.
No. So they had webinars, and they actually had courses.
Okay.
So they had online courses about like wholesaling.
Well, like had the Ben Humble.
You got it. And so yeah, it really took my attention, and then I just got into it, man. And then I was reading the book Think and Grow Rich, and it was talking about burn all your old boats if you want to be successful. Yeah. And that's what I did, man. I ended up, I'm like, I put on my whiteboard, and if I'm feeling the same way, I want to drop out in 5 days, no question asked, I'll do it. Yeah. Put on the board. 5 days later, I had the same feeling. I dropped out. I used my OSAP money, and they had one in-person courses. Yeah. And that was around, like, I believe 2000. Yeah. I'm like, fuck it. I'm like, now if I have my money invested in it, now I'll take it more seriously. Yeah. I took my OSAP money, bought that, and
gang shit.
And had a 3-day weekend learning about real estate. And the most crazy part is, in that meeting, I met my first money partner.
No, that's crazy. That's crazy.
And it wasn't during that time. It was much later down my journey. Yeah. And I built relationship with a potential coach that taught me real estate. Jesus. Yeah. And so like that was powerful, man. And I was going for knowledge, but I was like more going for even connections. And since then I got into real estate. I started wholesaling, and for me, I was new. I was learning. For me, the biggest thing is like in real estate, knowledge is power. If you know and if you know how to even look for deals, how to find deals, you hold the power, because you can find an opportunity that can multiply somebody's money, right? Yeah. And so I started wholesaling. I still don't understand it much.
How were you wholesaling? Were you like door knocking? Were you like spending money on ads? What exactly were you doing?
I was doing like, so I would print flyers, and I would go like door by door. I would pick a neighborhood. I would go door by door, put in my flyers.
Wow. How long were you doing that for? Because I remember I did that, but I wasn't doing it for long.
I did it for like 6 months.
Okay, yeah. See?
6 months on and off.
You held it through.
Okay. Wait. Before we go any further, explain what wholesaling is to anyone who doesn't know.
Exactly. Yeah. So wholesaling is one of the strategies in real estate where you find an opportunity, undervalue opportunity, and what you do is that you get that under contract, meaning like you lock it up using a document called Form 100, and within the document you have an escape clause that typically states that if the deal doesn't make sense for you, you can exit and get your deposit back.
What was the escape clause? Yeah.
It's a due diligence clause.
Yeah. And what is it backing up off of?
It's an agreement, right? It's like hey, I want to buy this house, but I need 10 days or 15 days to to see, you know, if I can even buy this house, right?
Okay.
And so if I don't buy it within 10 to 15 days, then I can back out and I get my deposit back.
And most people are going to be happy with that.
Yeah, they're happy.
It's only 10 to 15 days.
Exactly.
It's not even on the market.
It's not even on the market, right? Okay, so you would lock it up, and then you would advertise this property to your investors or just a list of investors, but the deal has to make sense. You know, it can't just be any deal. You have to do your numbers. You have to make sure there's profits in the deal, and then you would find a buyer at a higher value, and you would be the middle person who would take the commission,
the wholesaler.
right? Exactly.
Yeah.
So an example would be if you lock up a property for 100K for the sake of this example, and you find a buyer who wants to buy for 120K because maybe it's worth, you know, 180K.
You take the 20K.
You take the 20K, and you have all your money, like your money was just for the deposit, right? And that you can get back. And so, you know, with this strategy, you don't need a lot of capital. And that's why I started it. That's the reason why it was very appealing to me.
Yeah.
So I started it, I was doing it, and then I wasn't hitting the results that I wanted to hit. I found a coach in real estate. He was a wholesaler. I spoke with him, you know, he knew his stuff. He knew about creative financing, and that's where I learned my creative financing from as well. And so
what is creative financing?
Creative financing is like vendor take back, seller financing, cash back, all those creative stuff in real estate that can help you ease with the transaction that you're looking to buy.
So you're technically not going through the major banks.
You're not. You're probably going with a B or private lender to give you the VTB because banks don't like vendor take back. You know, it's like real estate is it's a tunnel you're going down, but there's so many different words and you gotta.
I'm just trying to make some reels happen right now, you know.
No, that's good, man. That's good.
Follow us on TikTok and Instagram. Links are down below, you know.
Oh yeah. And so I was talking to him. He knew his stuff. He was making money flipping, and I told him, like, you know, why don't you teach me wholesaling?
Yeah.
And he's like, why?
Wait. This is the mentor that you met?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then he's
who
like,
is it?
His name is Ali. I don't know if you know.
Ali. No.
He's a very low key guy.
Those are usually the best ones.
Huh? Those are the best ones. Like, you have to find someone who's not known, who's not commercializing mentorship. And I can have a whole conversation.
No, let's not do that.
Yeah.
I'm joking. No, you can't. Let's go in it. Let's go into it.
No, but just coming back to the story, right? Like, so he said he'll teach me if I pay him 15K. And keep in mind, like, I'm young. I'm just dropped out of university. I don't have a lot of money.
I know another guy who wants 15K to teach me something as well.
Oh yeah. You know that.
I know somebody like that.
Oh yeah. What ended up happening was I took credit card loans. I took like 4 or 5 credit card loans. I'm like, if I can get the knowledge.
Can I pause you for a sec?
Yeah.
That's some G shit. Just putting it out there.
Yeah.
He's betting on himself right now.
Yeah,
he's literally going all in. You're like, yo, I don't go fuck this. Yo, you could have fucked yourself up.
100%.
But that's some G shit. Not everybody has the balls to do that. But please continue.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, it was definitely a big move for me because 15K, like $1,000 is big for me, right? When I was young, but I believed in myself. I'm like, the only thing holding me is the knowledge, and I knew, like, and again, reading that book, Think and Grow Rich. Until you don't put yourself over the edge, you're not really gonna get anywhere because you're putting yourself at the edge. Either you succeed or fail. And so that's what I thought. That's the mindset I went in with. 15K, and kid you not, in a month and a half working with him, I made around 30K on my first assignment deal.
Wow.
Right? And that's how I look at it, right? Like, I knew I was driven to make money. I knew I was driven to be in this field. And then after that, I understood the game. I started building my wholesaling team, and then etc. Started buying properties, and then moving into bigger multifamilies and developments, etc. So it's definitely a good starting to my career, and a lot of risk I took. And so one advice that was given to me by a very successful investor, and he told me was like right now, imagine this is like, you know, you're like, you have nothing, you know, you're failing. So what he told me is like, he's like, right now you're not very off of that, right? So you might as well take all the risk. You know, even if you fail, you're not failing much because your fall is
going to be really short,
very short, right? In compared to you, somebody that's sophisticated and further on in their field, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm like, what there's to lose, you know? Like, one day, eventually, I'll figure it out, right? And so that's how I got started in real estate.
Jeez.
Can you explain how OPM works when you use OPM to fund a deal?
Okay. And before you explain it, what is OPM?
What is OPM?
What is OPM for the people in the back?
So OPM is other people's money. Before I say anything, make sure you consult with your commissioner lawyer before you do any of this, because there's serious regulations behind this.
Not financial advice.
This is not a financial advice. It's not even an advice. You know, it's just information that I've learned, you know, from my experience. So typically, OPM is other people's money, and typically what you do is that in the smaller real estate transactions, you have an active partner and a passive partner, where active partner takes care of the whole property and runs all the management of a deal and also finds the opportunity, and then you have a passive partner who just puts the money for the deal, while the active partner does all the groundwork.
Can you go over some of the things that the active partner would do?
Yep. So what an active partner does is, so he finds an opportunity more likely undervalued, and then he would present that opportunity to a potential partner who can fund for the opportunity. And so he would present it. He would show them all the numbers to make sure it makes sense for the investor as well. And then what he would do is, like, when they buy the property, he would run all the management for the property. If that consists of getting the tenants out, renovating the property, and then property management, right? All the operations of the property, while the other partner would just get updates and just get an ROI in the sense of like their equity, or ROI on the sense of their money.
And ROI means return on investment. The people that don't know. Yes. Yeah.
So that would be the role of an active partner. And a passive partner would just fund for the deal and qualify for the mortgage in some scenarios, and then would just get updates and just have their money grow.
Yeah. So a passive partner is essentially somebody that has a lot of capital off like another endeavor, and like obviously because they're so invested in their other endeavor, they don't want to actively be a real estate investor, so they just invest the cash into it and still become an owner or get a return on investment on that. Because
what I've noticed with a lot of people, like people that have a lot of money, they perhaps don't have time, first of all, to go find opportunities. Second thing,
or they just don't give a fuck.
They don't give a fuck, right? They're busy with their own business, right? Like I have one partner who runs warehouses, and he doesn't have time to go out find contractors for a property or find an opportunity.
He just wants to asset and return.
Exactly, he just wants a return, right?
Yeah.
And the key to finding a passive partner is relationship.
Exactly.
Don't just work with anybody that has money. Trust me, I'm talking from experience.
Why? What is that? Why would you not work with just anybody that has money?
The thing is, first things first, like you have to know the person that you're getting in bed with, right? And second thing, you have to build a relationship with them, right? You have to make sure that your goals are aligned. You guys have the same vision for the asset. And you guys can see working with each other long term, right? Because like I've heard stories of people getting screwed over on both sides, active or passive.
Okay. And like what are some interview questions that you would ask to potential investors? Like what are some things that you would ask
to filter out?
Yeah, like, to filter out to see who's a better match for you and who's not. Like, what are some questions that you would ask?
So the first question I would ask them is like, why real estate?
Yeah.
Why? Like, what are you trying to achieve from real estate?
Yeah.
Are you looking to achieve, financial freedom? Are you looking to, leave your job and have the income supported? Are you looking to build a long-term portfolio for your kid, grandkids, right? Second thing I would ask as well is like, why me? Why are you looking to work with me? What is it that I'm offering? Because you'll find out that a lot of people that work with you is not solely about the opportunity. It is one, but they mostly like you as a person, and they mostly like doing business with you, right? Aside from that, I would first get their expectations on returns. I would get their expectation on like, what kind of opportunities they're looking for, right? Because I don't want to bring them 200 opportunities. You know what I mean? Just clarifying on the goal and clarifying on what they're looking to achieve.
And you would essentially kind of match them to whatever deals that you have
exactly
for upcoming.
And honestly, like I first like really get to know them before I bring them any opportunities. So like I would get to know them for like a month or so before I get in bed with them, because like I said, you really wanna know the person that you're getting in bed with.
And like I've been hearing like from like some other investors as well, like some JV partners, they're not always like, even if you explain the whole contract to them and like they see like your other projects doing well, and like obviously people within the community talk. Do you find that's like a common issue with investors, like or do you find that if you do the vetting process properly that you just kind of erase that whole part out?
I would say is like just being true to your words, right? Like, never screw anyone over, have the right intentions.
Of course.
And because like the community is very small, and so, one bad project will go out.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody will know, right?
Yeah.
And so, and that's why it's like, a lot of people that know me in the field, they know what I do, and I'm quite open about it too.
Yeah.
I post any of my projects on social media, and it helps me build rapport, right?
Of course.
With a lot of my partners, because I'm very picky, like working with people, all my partners are like friends of mine now, right? At this point, where like I have very good relationships with them, right? So now people that are in the community. And one thing that I dislike is like anybody that has a deal, they're just throwing it on groups. Hey, I'm looking funding for it. Hey, who wants to invest? Right? Like, that's wrong. You know, especially if you, first of all, if you don't have experience, and second thing, it's for public. You're asking anybody for money.
Yeah.
And especially if you're not on title. I've heard of stories where like the active partner got screwed over because the passive partner had the title. So he can just say like, F you, who are you?
But you have to get it all down in paper and all in the contracts, right?
Even JV agreement, right? But they're on title.
Yeah.
You can still sue them, don't get me wrong, but they're on title. What are you going to say? You know, if they want to sell the property, don't get me wrong, they're going to be liable too. But you really want to go through all that, you know, the lawsuit, going through court.
It's a lot,
It's not worth it. Right?
Okay.
And so that's why I'm very keen on like first be an expert on your in your field before you start raising money. Right? Like, know what you're doing first.
Exactly.
Right? Have a team around you first.
Yeah.
Right?
So there's people who don't know that they're doing that are raising money for big projects?
Dude, they don't know what they're doing, and they're just putting out deals, right? Like, or have very minimum experience, right? Because like it's a culture now, right? It's like they have a good deal. It's like that quote that they have is like, you know, if you have a good deal, money will find itself. No, you know, you can have a good deal and you can really like mess up on that deal and turn that into a bad deal.
Yeah. If you don't have the right systems in place and like the right partners and all that shit, right? Yeah.
Contractors, right? Because it looks small as a project, right? Tenants out, contractors, you know, management, right? Man, I've been through this process, like, and they're not that simple, right? Like you like you're gonna see a lot of situations in there where you need to make a good decision, and one bad decision can take you down a different path.
Do you keep a lot of your contractors in-house, or do you outsource them?
No, they're typically outsourced.
Yeah.
I have specific contractors that I work with now.
Yeah.
And so typically like my team communicates with them now. So like if there's anything major wrong, that's when I get involved. But so far it's been very good.
Okay. Sick, bro.
Yeah.
So let's talk about multifamily. So like your first ever multifamily deal, like how do you gain like the trust of like your money partner or the investors?
Right. So my first multifamily deals were smaller.
Yeah.
And again, it was through relationships.
What do you mean by small?
Triplex.
Okay.
Yeah.
Triplex, fourplexes.
Yeah.
And they're easy to manage, and the price that I bought them at as well were quite significantly low.
And you'd already done flips before.
Exactly. Yeah. So So I've done smaller flips.
Yeah. And that was your own money kind of thing, right?
Yeah. So one of them was own money, the other one I raised money.
Okay.
But multifamily was a little bit of a different play. So again, relationships, right? I was building a relationship with partners, right? Because like I said, I want to know who I'm getting in bed with. And so I found a deal in Niagara. It was a triplex for $510,000.
Oh shit. 510.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And this was like a year ago.
A year ago.
Yeah.
And I know you find a lot of your deals on the MLS. Was this an MLS?
Oh yeah, MLS. I find most of my deals from MLS. Many good opportunity, but with MLS, speed is everything, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I went to see the property, and honestly, I didn't even raise money for it, and I went firm because I saw the value.
Yeah,
I saw the zoning. I saw the value. It's a massive property, so. The property, like the land was worth more than the property. Because when we had our insurance, like to rebuild this property is gonna cost you $900,000.
Yeah,
you're buying for $510. You can't go wrong.
You
know what I mean? Yeah. So we bought it.
How big was the lot? You remember?
What was the corner lot? It was like 58 by 120, but it was like a corner lot.
Okay.
And it was like and your built on that was around 85%.
No way.
85%.
And then this house is probably like those old like war homes, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, and it was beautiful brick.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't even a war home.
No.
Did it have a basement and stuff too?
Yeah.
Okay. What the?
Yeah. But basement wasn't finished. It was a long property. I think you've probably seen it on my Instagram.
Maybe.
But yeah. So we bought that, and it was a beautiful. And the best thing was the zoning.
Yeah. What was the zoning? What did they permit there?
It was
80% of that
Airbnb.
They allow Airbnb there.
Yeah.
No way. So what did you convert it into?
So I didn't convert anything. First I was thinking if I convert it to a fourplex, but I'm like, no, triplex.
Yeah.
Because every unit was around like 1,500 to 1,600 square feet.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't want to mess with that. So unit number 1 we converted into 2 bedrooms. The back
upstairs. That's upstairs.
No, the main floor.
Main floor. Okay,
it was 1 bedroom, so we converted into 2 bedrooms.
Yeah.
Upstairs we converted a 2 bedroom into a 3 bedroom.
Okay.
And the back we converted a 1 bedroom into a 2 bedroom plus office.
Okay.
And so definitely value add. But again, I bought it so cheap, $510. And the funny part is we actually sold this 2 weeks ago.
No way.
For $950.
Wow.
950, but the buyer, his appraisal came low. It was a shit show. I'm like, I want to sell it. So we ended up selling for 910.
Okay.
Well,
still not bad.
He was still firm at 950, but we just let him go at 910.
Yeah. You could have got that extra money, but like you don't want to be.
It's not worth it. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Your time is the most valuable resource here, right? So
you don't want to be a dick to.
And you don't want to be a dick to, right?
Yeah. It's not his fault.
Yeah. So what can you do, right? So that was my property, and then so I found an opportunity again. I went firm. I'm like, hey, this is a phenomenal opportunity. I went through numbers with him, and it was right. And then I bought another fourplex in Niagara, like back to back.
Yeah.
That was closing a month after this one. And I still have that in my portfolio, and I love that property, man. It was a fourplex we bought for $560. It's currently on Airbnb right now, all 4 units.
How is the whole Airbnb business out there in Niagara? It's underrated, right?
Phenomenal, dude. Really, phenomenal. Like, I'm making income on one property that I wouldn't make on 5-6 properties combined.
You mind sharing numbers?
Yeah, for sure, man. Right now, roughly, like we're doing around $5K a unit. Like this month, I mean,
revenue. This is revenue.
Yeah. It's end of the month. We probably did like 21K this month.
Wow. From the whole
from that 560 property.
From that one fourplex?
Yeah.
Yeah. I need to get a fourplex. Niagara.
Yeah, man. Airbnb is a phenomenal strategy, and your cash on cash return is so significant, because like you would have to buy at least 6-7 properties to get the same cash flow that you would get from
and I find that it also helps with the whole cleaning fee too, because it's like your cleaning lady or man doesn't need to go to multiple units. They just go to the same unit and they just deal with. It's like a hotel.
You got
it's a hotel.
It's a hotel, and that's why like I'm more keen on buying bigger stuff now, because it's easy to manage. And if you're doing Airbnb in one place, like you can literally create a strategy than having like 5-6.
And the rents you're always gonna get top rents. Because you don't have any long-term tenants.
So with Airbnb, it's a little bit different. Like the advice that I would give to people that are running Airbnb, it really. So first thing is location. Second thing is your finishes. Third thing is the way you stage it. If you can stage a shitty house but beautifully, you'll still get people.
Coming in,
right.
Yeah.
And it's
they're not gonna live in it.
No,
they're not gonna do a home inspection before they come in, right?
And having amenities, right? Like having games there, right?
Yeah.
Like being different. Look at the market.
Like,
look what they're offering.
Like those like old arcade games and shit.
Yeah. That has a lot of value, right?
Yeah.
And so
you can get that on like a GG and shit.
Exactly. So those stuff adds massive value. Bro. Yeah, man. Fuck. Airbnb is the way to go, right now, like so now, like I don't manage any of my Airbnbs. It's my team that does it.
Yeah.
But now we're looking for a cottage. And
bro, I hear cottage money is next level, bro.
Cottage money is cottage money. You can't compare it to anybody.
So, especially if you can get a lakefront.
Oh yeah,
bro. Like that, the land itself is gonna be worth shit. Like, you know, down the road. You can buy a shitty house.
Like for me, my goal was like I want 1,000 units. Now I'm like, do I really want 1,000 units for that cash flow? What if I just buy like a bunch of Airbnb?
Less management.
And less management, and you know, the ROI is significant.
Yeah. But then in terms of ownership wise, like it's less ownership, but like you can buy more with the cash flow, right?
More cash flow, right?
You can buy more, because the thing is like if you can build your enough cash flow in your life now,
you can leverage the cash flow.
Exactly, you can leverage the cash flow and still buy, you know,
other assets,
bigger units, right? Yeah. Instead of you then buying duplex, triplexes, because you have such significant cash flow, you know,
like one big multifamily,
right? And that's the way to go.
It's like you know how I was telling you about Neil Patel.
How
he makes his business makes $100 million a year. He can get a loan for $20 million and put zero down to buy another business.
Yeah.
That's crazy, right? That's leveraging cash flow.
Exactly.
It's all leverage, man. It's all leverage.
Yeah.
You know.
Wow. Yeah. So what made you want to go? Because I know. So you were focusing on, just purely multifamily before, right? So for those of you guys that don't know, the whole strategy is, you're buying like off market, or just you're creating opportunities. That's what you're doing, right? Like he's finding these older apartment buildings in like Niagara and Waterloo, and then what he would do is that, because it'll be like a piece of shit inside, like he would get in there, he'd make all strategic renovations to make it more appealing, to increase the rents, and then you're essentially getting the cap rates up, right?
Yeah.
So you're essentially getting the cap rates up, and then when and then he'll go back to either refinance it, or he'll sell it, and now it's worth more because it's producing more income, and that was the whole game. And then whatever the difference in value is afterwards, like you would split that with the JVs, and then everyone's happy at the end of the day, right?
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
And multifamily, the way I look at multifamily is it's a business, right?
Yeah.
The more money the business brings in, the higher the business is valued at.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so now whenever you look at an asset like a multifamily, you gotta find an asset that's underperforming with the option to increase the income and making it worth more, right? And so we bought an 800 building again on the market. Offer date too. I actually won an offer date. So when I went there, it was like a long line of people. I'm like, shit. I'm like, okay, I gotta offer more. So what I found out was the realtor was a residential realtor, so they didn't know commercial. So she listed for 1 million for 8 units.
Yeah. Why? Okay,
beats me.
Yeah.
So we went in there. I offered them 1.35.
Yeah.
And they accepted it because I was like, psychologically, people wouldn't offer 350K over asking.
Yeah.
They were like, oh, 100K is enough, 200K. I'm like, this is worth 1.35 all day long, even more than 1.35.
What do you think it was actually worth at the time?
So we did an appraisal on it. I knew it was more than 1.8.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So our appraisal was around 2 million.
Okay.
As is.
You could have just flipped it as is.
Yeah.
And made like. Yeah.
But we want to do Airbnb.
Yeah.
Right. So yes.
So what in this? Obviously, you're going in there, you're renovating and making it nicer and stuff. When you get it reappraised, do you still burr it before you put it on Airbnb?
Oh, that's a good question.
You can tell me, bro.
I don't know if I want to answer that on this here, but typically what you do is that if you have an Airbnb manager, so you're leasing the building out to them, and it's on them to do whatever they want to do.
Wait. What do you mean? Say that again.
So
it's kind of like McDonald's.
It's like McDonald's, right?
leases out to their franchisees.
Okay. Oh, okay. So you're going in there, you're doing the burr, and then you're leasing it out to somebody who has an Airbnb business, and
that's what it is, man. So
my mind's blown right now.
So what you're doing is like
so your hands
off.
So
it's not an Airbnb business. He owns the land. He owns the real estate.
I own the real estate, but
so
now
you become the passive. You go from being the active investor to the passive investor for the Airbnb business.
So I have two businesses, right?
Yeah.
I have an Airbnb business too.
Yeah.
So I'm leasing it out to my Airbnb business because that's a different entity, right?
Yeah.
And so they will take care of all the operations while still having leases with my other company because we're the passive now. But I'm still active on the Airbnb side, still giving monthly income to my other corp.
Is there some sort of tax advantage to do this? I know there is.
No, it's a refi advantage, right? Because
it's a refi advantage.
Yeah, because without leases, you're not gonna get a refi.
So you
right?
Oh, okay. So because it's a commercial, you need to show that it's actively making income. So then you would lease it out to your own Airbnb company, which is the proof of income coming into there. Correct. And now the price. Oh my god, bro! I need to do this shit. I'm coming. I'm sending you that money.
so it's the same thing as like when you're running a Airbnb arbitrage.
Yeah.
It's the same concept.
Yeah.
You're renting out somebody's
You're
thing.
renting out your own asset. But you also have a JV partner, or is a JV out of this by now?
No, we're still partners.
You're still partners.
I still have partners on the deal.
Okay.
But then I also have, because again it's a second entity, right? And so now if we have a second entity running it, it's a different business, right? It has nothing to do with this, right? I can still rent it long term, but even they know the cash flow is much higher with their Airbnb, right? So that's how I get over. But again, you got to make sure that the zoning is in place. There's few regulations you got to make sure,
of course,
just so you're compliant.
Yeah.
But that's how I run.
Can the city ever change the zoning?
They are actually.
Fuck.
They are. Depending on what areas, but like typically, okay.
But if you're already running an Airbnb and they change the zoning bylaws, they can't do anything, right? Like because you have the existing zoning on that asset. Yeah. But it's when you change the use of that asset. So just say you go from Airbnb to short-term rental. When you change the use, you can't change it back after. But can they force you to change it while it still has that allowance? Okay,
so what?
That's sick.
What's
that makes
called?
it more? Actually, that makes it valued even higher.
Exactly.
When that happens, because it becomes like a rare. Sorry, go ahead.
So yeah, it's called a grandfathered clause, bro. Right? It's grandfathered.
I learned this shit in my real estate course. It's crazy. I'm so excited right now. You know?
Yeah, man. Yeah. So it's like grandfather clause. Like so typically the way it works is that because a lot of these triplex, fourplexes, they were done like 10, 50, 40 years ago, right?
Yeah.
And so now as long as they're still running like that till this day, because again, bylaws now are changed significantly.
Yeah.
So as long as
I guess it's just to come for the new population, all the people coming in and shit.
You
too,
got
right?
it.
Yeah.
And so as long as you keep it running like that, and you don't change the like, you don't convert a triplex into a single family home. Once you do that, then you can't go back to grandfather.
Yeah. But if you keep it a triplex and you keep selling, they keep keeping it the triplex, it's grandfathered in.
Yep, it's called a legal non-conforming triplex.
So get in there now.
Okay. Get in there now. Get in there now, right?
Now.
And
dropping bare gems, right?
Yeah.
and now it's like, okay, so now even explaining like zoning, how cities are working with zoning, right? Okay, and it's gonna be a little bit of my development experience here as well. So typically every city has what's called an urban boundary. And so
what is the urban boundary?
So urban boundary, it's a boundary which you can get zoning inside of and which you can build inside of, right?
Okay.
Anything outside of urban boundary you can't build.
It's like the Canadian Shield.
Exactly.
It is the Canadian Shield.
It's a Canadian Shield, right? So you can't build out of, right?
Yeah.
So every city has urban boundary which you can build inside of. Anything else outside you can't build.
Okay. But they keep expanding that.
Yeah. So what you can do is you can't build anywhere where there's conservation land. Right? Even if it's in or outside the urban boundary, right? So what they do is every year they expand the urban boundary slowly. As
the population increases.
Exactly. So now people that are holding land outside the urban boundary,
let's
let's say they're buying their land for 200K per acre. Now, the day it goes inside the urban boundary, it's around 400-500K per acre. So their land value just goes up like this.
It's called land banking.
Exactly, right? And so now they're increasing it slowly. But what some cities are doing, and honestly, it's very stupid what they're doing. Instead of expanding the urban boundary, what they're doing is they're changing inside density.
So now they're allowing more units, and it's just more like, and you're gonna see a lot.
Why would they do that? What do you think?
More housing.
More
housing. Right.
Well, no, like they also want to increase the density, so that you can have more people and you don't have to expand the Canadian Shield as much. Because I guess it's like also like an environmental thing too.
Exactly.
Right?
Like they don't want you building a lot of stuff because they want to keep the greenery that's there in place right now.
And you'll see this reflection, like especially in like Scarborough homes. Like for example, like the older the house is, like you'll see that the older homes, even if it's a very, very small house, it's built on a huge lot. You get so much of a lot. Versus now, when you're buying new houses, the next house is like fucking right next to you, or it's like a townhouse that's like built up. So like the land, there's so much. Yes, it's a lot more density in less land now.
Exactly.
Right, which is, in my opinion, is pretty fucked.
Yeah.
Right. But that's just how it is right now.
So now what the city of Waterloo has been doing, again, nobody knows because they didn't do any announcement. They're slowly changing zonings for certain areas.
So how they changing it in Waterloo?
So meaning like if let's say it's a residential zoning, they would change it to like a high residential zoning.
Oh, so you can to invite more condo developers there.
You got it.
Yeah.
And so we had the opportunity to we're still in the process of buying a sixplex in Waterloo, and right now this is right beside a 20-story building, and behind it is also around like a 15-story building, and so we're buying that. We spoke with our city planners, and they said they're quite confident that we can get a 8-story condominium just on that piece of land.
That's sick.
And
this will be your first condo project, no?
Yeah. So my partner Hisham, he's done multiple projects. Okay. He's a big developer.
Okay.
And so having him on my team it's amazing because like he has a bunch he's doing, a bunch he's sold off. Right. And so now and
where do you find these guys? This is like off Indeed and stuff.
Network. Indeed. Imagine if they had Indeed.com for networking. Honestly, relationships. And I like
condo developer, right?
Yeah. I like working with people that are not known. That's a big thing for me. I like knowing people that are not known, because you have a more personalized relationship with them,
and their strategies are more unique and quiet.
Exactly. Right. And so like and through even his circle that I got involved into, like he deals with people that are like buying $200 million deals, $500 million deals, like $1 billion land deals. Right. And so now what I learned even from that side as well is like these guys, they're very low key. You would never imagine that these guys are doing projects like that.
Bro, I see way too many G63 AMGs out here, bro. I'm pretty sure those guys aren't working 9 to 5s, you know?
No, they're definitely not, right? And I like that. And that's definitely the circle that I personally want to get into.
100%.
Right? Like, because the conversations are different.
Likewise.
Yeah. Let's do it, man.
Let me transfer that 15 G's.
Oh man, no, that's good, and that's what I told you, right? To you're paying to get in the circle.
No, 100%. Right? I believe in that. Yeah.
No, man, that's amazing. Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, we're in the process of buying that. We actually stabilized the whole property before closing. So before we bought it was at 2.8 million, and right now it's worth 3.6 because we got 21 vacancies, and before the closing we got all new tenants in there.
Yeah.
So definitely a good place.
Is this like the biggest deal you've done, or is there bigger deals like?
No, that's probably the biggest deal I've done.
With this one, the condominium.
Yeah.
Because it's a whole different structure too than what you're used to, right?
What was the biggest deal before that?
So actually no, this is actually not the biggest deal I've done. Like I've worked on
doors
bigger,
wise, he had bigger.
I've worked on bigger deals, but like I didn't go through with it, right?
Okay.
So we're actually buying. So we were actually trying to buy a land in Niagara Falls, right? And this was 73 acres for 10 million.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this was sitting right beside the urban boundary. So I knew that they're expanding the urban boundary in the next year or so.
Yeah. Where can you find the urban boundaries? Is it just available online?
There's a map. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a map. There's green belt map. There's also you can also see like what land has like wetlands and stuff like that, because
it's not public information, right? Or no?
It's all public information.
Yeah. Can you send me the websites?
For sure, man. Absolutely. It's quite cool to be honest.
No.
Because
very interesting.
Because when you actually look inside the urban boundary, even inside the urban boundary, you see there's not enough land, because half of the land is like wetland. Yeah. There's like rivers running under the land, right?
Yeah. So the wetlands you can't build on top of, obviously, right?
You can't, no. But like certain people, they buy land, and I mean most of your land that you buy, some of it's gonna be wet anyway, so you can turn that into like a pond, whatever, for the community. But the 73 acres we were looking to buy, man, this was pure land, like no wetland.
Wow.
Beautiful land. And right in the middle of Thorold and Niagara Falls.
So are you gonna bank? How many acres was it again?
73 acres.
73. Oh fuck. So are you gonna bank on the land and flip it to a developer, or do you want to develop it on it yourself?
No, we definitely want to develop. I mean,
develop some and then sell some.
It's a strategy, right? Like land bank and then develop and then take your site plan, get zoning.
That's generational wealth.
Exactly. And so like we're still working on it, but again, like it's a 10 million.
Yeah.
That's a big one, and it's land, so you can't get any financing on it.
Yeah.
And so now we're looking at it, but we did our calculation. The whole project at site plan approval, or I think even at a full build, it's a more than $1 billion project.
Jesus.
Because you're talking like 1,500 houses.
Yeah. And that's using today's prices, or is that using
today's prices?
So imagine what it's going to be then. Jesus.
Right. So these are legacy plays. That's what I like to call them. Right.
I like that. And
so like it's one deal can just change your life. Right. Yeah. Because now I think we're buying around $200,000 per acre, something around there. We spoke with a few people that own land in the urban boundary, and we knew that this would be worth $400K per acre right when it like in a year or so, year and a half.
What's the current value again?
It was around 10 million. So
no, I mean like per acre.
It was around, I think 200K, 200K something,
okay.
200 something K. And so like,
so you already double by next year.
Yeah, exactly. So your 10 million acquisition will be 20 million just by holding.
And like, how do you like come across like the people that like, how do you come across the landowners that bought outside the thing? You just use like the MLS?
It's all network. It's so
I think I can put it up on the MLS.
A lot of bigger plays, like a lot of these land, bigger multifamilies, their network. Like, because right now I know a bunch of multifamily. So I know that there's one building, it's on sale in London for around like I think 40 million.
Okay.
And so deals like that, they don't come on the MLS, man. Because the thing is like the owners for these bigger buildings, they don't want the media drama. They don't want tenants knowing that he's selling the building, right?
Yeah.
And he's not gonna attract the right buyers off of MLS. Let's be honest, right? People that are looking to buy this, they're not scrolling through MLS for some deals, right?
Yeah, they're already plugged in.
And so like this is a network. It's a big network, and people are part of these network on bigger stuff.
Is it more so of like an in-person network, or would you say it's also like do you have like a Facebook page and stuff as well? It's not a Facebook page.
No, it's
right?
not a Facebook page. No, I wish it was as easy as Facebook, because then I would be like hitting up everybody.
Do I need to buy like a board ape or something? Like, how do I get into this network?
So I would say like talking to people that are in the network, right? So my partner,
other owners,
like my partner Hisham, he's already part of the network. He's a realtor too, so he helps them buy like bigger multifamilies. He sells plazas and stuff, and he's a developer himself, right?
I would love to meet him.
Yeah, man, for sure. Yeah. He's a wonderful guy. You
should bring him on here one day.
Absolutely, dude. That guy like hearing him like talk about development, you're like, wow.
Yeah.
Like when you know your stuff, you know your stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
how did you get this guy on your team? Like, it's just,
dude, conversation, man. It's I got to know him on a personal level.
Yeah.
And he saw what I was doing, I saw what he was doing, right? We have different skill sets,
but mutual interest
and mutual interest, right? And so we did wholesale, man. Dude, it's crazy because I actually wholesale on market deals.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because I actually wholesaled an on market deal with him. We found a triplex in Thorold that was sitting on the market for around I think 30-40 days, and nobody was looking at it. I'm like, okay, it's not a bad deal. So I lock it up at 550, and dude, like, we go firm because I was gonna buy it anyways because it had a minor development play into it, and then I found a buyer who wanted to take it off my hand for 650.
Yeah,
but it was on the MLS for 40 days while nobody looked at.
So you're just taking it off the MLS and redistributing it back into the circles.
Dude, that's the thing, man. Because people like when I'm looking at deals, I don't know why people don't look at these deals. Like I found another property, and same thing on the market, and I wholesale it for significantly more because the value is there. It just has to be positioned in a way where you can show the other person how they can make money on this, right? And that's exactly what I did. I showed them, hey, this is how you can make money on it. Yeah. And then any deals that I do try to sign, I'm ready to buy them myself because they're good deals.
Yeah. Damn.
Right. So I would say like anybody that's starting out, if they can learn how to find deals and how to structure deals, dude, that's gold. Yeah. Because any opportunity is a deal if it's bought at the right price or term.
That's like step number one. Buy it with the equity built into it.
Dude, you make money in real estate on the buy.
Yeah.
Strategies are all bonuses, but you actually make the real money in real estate on the buy.
Yeah, yeah. It's like anything.
It's like anything.
Yeah. You've been in the multifamily space for a little while. Like, how long did it take you to figure out all these? Like, because I know you have like a whole team, you have a whole system set up. How long did it take you to figure out the system, or did you adopt somebody else's system and make it your own? Like, how did you go about that whole process?
The easy answer is it's never done. It's always ongoing, right? Like a business in a business is like you're building systems, but then you find better ways to do things, right? And so the more products you do, you find more better things to do, and how to make a system more efficient. Like, how can we make it more easier, right? I would say is like whatever your steps are, put them on a paper and like main steps, right? And then break them down, right? Break them down by task, and then slowly like you can then assign those tasks either to yourself as an employee and create systems around that. Or what you can do is like once you assign these tasks to yourself and you build a kind of like a instruction manual just for yourself, and then you would want to follow these tasks as you're doing before you start hiring somebody and assigning these tasks to them, right?
Yeah. It's kind of like what we do with everything here, right? So when you hire the person on, you just be like, hey, this is your tasks. This is what we expect of you, and this is what this is what we want from you. And
I would say the most important thing is like your onboarding. That's the most important. If you onboard an employee the right way, they'll add you a lot more value.
What are some tips you can give that you use to onboard your?
I would say be clear and have the right instructions, right? Like be clear with what you want them to do. Yeah. And then and then like with any employee, the first 3 to 6 months are your investment because they're learning, right? They're trying to best emerge in your business. But I would say is like hold their hand at the beginning stages and just make sure they understand what they're doing and giving them a legacy to follow, right? Like people like working for people that are big things, goals and are doing big things, right?
Yeah. They want to like people at the end of the day when they're working somewhere, they want to have that pride to say where they work. Like it's they want to be part of something big. Exactly. So you want to always remind them. It's
like because you as an owner, you're a leader, and as a leader, you're trying to accomplish something for the business, for yourself, right? Yeah. And so like you got to give them the vision.
Do you give them like I know this is like another strategy too, but like do you give them like legit names and shit like for the title? So instead of being like somebody who's like just say like a sales guy, right? Like instead of putting his thing as instead of putting him as sales, you put him as executive director of
So I have a chief operation manager, like I have VAs, I have acquisition manager right now looking at this position and hiring a marketing guy. Yeah, I definitely give them name, right? And typically, like, I would say another big thing is like being engaged with your team as much as possible. So the system that I've created for my team is we're gonna have meetings every morning, 15 minutes meetings before we start our day, right? Talk about what things need to get done.
Those meetings are so powerful.
They're so powerful.
So powerful.
It's
like it's like you meditating in the morning.
Yeah.
Not everybody's gonna meditate in the morning, but when you get together, if you like meditate or prime together, like everyone has like one thing to focus on for today. You know?
Do you have like specific values that you instill on the team that like you want everyone to kind of?
Like the biggest value that I give them is like invest in themselves, right? So we have what's called a book club. And so typically
that's crazy.
We read one book a month. And then we have a team dinner at the end of the month, and then in that team dinner we talk about the book.
That's crazy.
Right?
That's crazy for self-development.
Yeah, man. I want everybody to be growing, right? I want everybody to be growing in my team. And the way I look at myself as a leader, like, I want everyone to grow with me. You know, I don't want to be the only one growing. I want everybody to grow with me, because the biggest thing, even what Grant Cardone says, right? Like you got to pay your employees good for them to stick. You're looking for class A talent.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right? Because they're gonna build your business.
And like, I think having like, it's important to have incentive programs and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like, they're gonna see you making all this money.
Yeah.
Right. And if they feel like they're at a plateau, like I feel like anybody who like, if you're giving percentages or just like bonuses or whatever to like any win that you get, everybody's winning at the same time.
That prevents
like,
turnover, right? They
exactly.
stay with you.
That's like the biggest thing. Like, bro, I've literally worked so many jobs. Like I just hop job to job, and like, like, some people say it's a bad thing, but to me it's a good thing. I've networked with so many people. I learned so many different skills and stuff, and it's like, and I remember the biggest incentive for me to not stay in one spot was that I didn't feel like I was getting a full share, and like, I feel like that's like a big thing with like a lot of people who complaining about jobs and stuff. They feel like they're not getting a full share, or like they have like this like dingy little bonus after they make their companies like millions and millions of dollars, right? You get like, they'll give you like $1,000 or whatever it is, right? So I think like by having that small share, and like, even if it's like something else, even if it's like a $25 or $50 gift card for a little incentive that you've done, bro, it goes a long way.
Of course, man. It's so psychological, right? Even aside from money, it's psychological. It's like, oh, I'm getting something and he appreciates it, right?
Yeah.
Like, even my VAs, like, I give them portion of the income we produce on the Airbnb side. It's not significant, but it's enough for them to feel appreciated. That they're cared in this company. That we look out for each other, and we look out for the whole team, rather than just one person kind of growing his net worth while the other people are just like working and following, right?
100%.
You gotta lead by definition.
Exactly.
That's what I love to say.
Exactly.
We'll get that on the real,
Yeah. You're new to the Airbnb space, right?
Yes, sir.
So what have you found? Like, have you followed like another Airbnb system, or are you just kind of creating your own system as you go? Like, what kind of systems are you using right now for your Airbnb?
So, short answer, I actually don't run my own Airbnbs. I have somebody on my team that does
has experience in Airbnb.
That has massive experience in Airbnbs. And so she does a phenomenal job. Like, the way she stages. Typically, like, it's all a process, right? Like, even going back to talking about staging plays a big role, and I think the reason why we're doing so well in Airbnb is staging. We're staging it very nicely, right? We're making it different.
Would you recommend hiring a stager?
Of course.
As a Airbnb host?
Oh, of course we do. So
that's what you do. Okay.
So typically we have somebody who does all the design, for Airbnb, and then they also order everything for Airbnb as well.
Is she responsible for setting it up too?
Exactly.
Wow.
Setting it up, right? Because the thing is, like, you don't have all the skills, like, so whenever you're running a business, you need to leverage on other people's skill that would do the job much better than you. And so that's exactly what I do, right? Like, why do I hire a contractor to do my jobs, right? Because they're more skilled than me, right? And I can also buy my time back. Right?
You don't want to necessarily spend your time learning how to do Airbnb and all that.
It's not worth it, right? Like, I would say time is the most important thing for me. 100%. And time is money. That's really what it is.
Yeah. A lot of these cliche sayings have so much truth behind it,
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah. And so we have somebody who does all the staging, all the designing for our Airbnbs, and then we hire a cleaner, a handyman in the area, just so if things go wrong,
small repairs and stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. And then we have certain like cameras that we use. We have certain like what's that called? Like the lock for doors,
smart locks,
locks and stuff. That we use as well. And another thing is like backyard. That's what a lot of people miss out on, right? Backyard has to be nice, man.
When
families are there in the summer, they want to sit in the backyard, do some barbecue or sit by the fire. Right. Those are very important factors.
That's awesome. What was that transitional period when you're like, hey, you know what? I want to invite Airbnb into my multifamily. Like, when did you have that? When did you have that shift?
The shift that I had was I knew how much cash flow that I was getting on a multifamily property. It's significant, but it's not significant enough, right? And then so I had a bunch of my friends who are doing Airbnb, like one of them, Bay Money, Aaron Bay.
Okay.
So I seen him as well, and I had a conversation with him as well, and he's doing very well.
Was he doing Airbnb on like just houses, or was he doing it in multifamily?
Oh man, he's doing it like on anything right now. He's doing on luxury.
Yo, we want to get him on the podcast too.
Yeah, man, he's a solid dude.
Okay, let's do that.
Solid dude, a busy dude. But yeah, so I saw him doing it, and then I had a bunch of conversations with him as well. And then I just saw a lot of people doing it, right? And I saw the success they were getting, and I was comparing that. Okay, if I were to turn my units from long-term tenants to Airbnb, what's the benefit of it? And the way I look at it is like, okay, you have more cash flow, you have more control over the property because you're not leasing them out to long-term tenants, so you have the control. And Airbnb is phenomenal with liability. So anybody that messes your place up, like Airbnb gets that covered. Like they have a phenomenal program behind that. And so like after looking at that, that's why I was like, you know what, let me test one Airbnb out and see how it goes. And yeah, we did it, and yeah, it's doing phenomenal.
Sick, bro. And what are some inspections what are some inspection strategies that you guys do? Like once for the whole turnover process, is that kind of managed by the same person who's setting everything up too, or
for what?
So like like the onboarding for the new tenant to come in and then leave. Like what sort of inspections are you doing per each unit, like to make sure that they didn't break the taps or anything like that?
So for Airbnb or long-term tenants?
Airbnb.
Okay. So typically it's a cleaner, right? Because after every guest, the cleaner is gonna go in there, right? So we give cleaners clear instruction that if she sees something that she's not supposed to see or something that's broken, she would report it back to us, and then we'll have our VA report it to Airbnb with some photos. And especially when you've been doing a bunch of listing, Airbnb, they work with you. They know that you're not just gonna call them up and make something up. So, and they're quite fast at working. I remember at one of our properties, there was a female who came in, and so another big thing in Airbnb is like, make sure your listing is very clear, very clear where the unit is, what can they expect, right? And so this family came to our Airbnb, and so they found out that the unit was on the last floor. Okay. Which they didn't like. They're like, there's so many stairs.
There's no elevators because it's a fourplex, right?
It's a fourplex, right? Yeah. And so we're like, okay, but like it says on the listing that this is not on the main floor, this is on the third floor. And that's what saved us, because she's like, oh, I'm not staying here, I'm gonna get all my money back. And so she left. She called the Airbnb and asked for a refund. And so Airbnb contacted my team, and they're like, oh, she's not staying. And then we're like, yeah, what's the reason? She's like, oh, it's on the third floor. I'm like, hey, can you look at her listing? What does it say? Third floor. We even asked her that, okay, if you don't want to stay there, we'll give you another unit, but you got to pay for the cleaning fees for that, because now we already charged somebody for it, right? And so she's like, no, I don't want to pay for the cleaning fees. I'll get my refund. And long story short, she didn't get the refund because we tried to accommodate her, right? And it was on the listing clearly that this was on the third floor and what the guests can expect.
So bro, you used to work in the car parts industry, no?
Oh shit, yeah, that's a good conversation.
So how did you get into the car parts industry, and why did you pivot out of that to go into real estate? Like, how did that even? I know you went to the seminars and stuff, but like, where did the whole car parts thing come out of?
For me, okay, so my history was like, anything you name, I probably sold. So my dad had
like crack too.
No.
Anything
but crack.
Everything else but crack.
Every legal stuff.
It's like Vyvanse.
I'm drinking. But yeah, so my dad had a store in Toronto, and so he would sell anything in the store, right? And my dad, yeah.
What kind of store was it?
It was a luggage store, but with like everything in there. Cell phones, you want a backpack is there, you want skills there, you want a watch is there, right?
There's like peanuts, right?
Anything you can name he has it, right? So when I was young and I wanted to make some money, and so I would ask my dad, I'm like, listen, why don't you give me this stuff at not your cost, you can still make a $10-20 profit off me, give it to me, and I'll sell it for more and keep the profit.
Yeah. So you sell it at like school and stuff?
Dude, not even school, online, Facebook Marketplace.
Shit, okay.
Dude,
okay.
I used to like sell, man.
Yeah.
Like I remember being young and like making so much cash. I'm like, shit, right?
Yeah.
So I sold like watches. I sold like chains. I sold like bags, shoes. My most successful venture was like what do you call that? Backpacks. And then like designer wallets.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Are these like real designer or is this fake?
Nah, that's fake, man.
Like,
it's fake.
But like the guys buying it know it's fake.
The guys buying it know it's fake. No, of course. No. I don't sell it as real. It's fake, and it was cheap too, right? And so I would get it for like $30-$40.
Yeah.
And somebody would be like, because the real one's like $5-$6, right?
Yeah.
And these are good quality, man. Very good quality.
Yeah.
And dude, I used to sell a bunch of them, man.
Bro, those things move, bro.
Dude, like wallets, like bells, like backpacks, man. Honestly, like I remember when I was even in college. So I didn't used to work a job. I used to just do this.
Yeah.
and like I remember I would be at a college, studying. Then I would meet people at the subway station because I would bring like all this stuff with me, and then so I would already speak with them on Facebook, and then would meet them on subway, they give them money, and then that's all. And so I did a lot of that, and then slowly like I got into car parts. So I built a brand for seat covers. So like leather seat covers. So I started building a brand.
I think you told me this before.
I told you that. Yeah. And so man, those seat covers were phenomenal, dude. Like and then so I started selling them, installing in people's car. And so like I would buy them cheap. I would install it and make like $200-$300 per seat cover.
Jeez.
And so I started doing that a lot. So I actually worked in like car industry, like as like a car detailer. I worked in like 2 different spots. Yeah. And so I would install that, I would do that, and then I came across an opportunity where some individual was already running a mechanic, not even really a mechanic, but like car parts store. Yeah. And so I knew he was struggling a little bit because he was new to business. And so I'm like, and he had a prime location. I'm like, wow, like this is amazing.
You're kind of wondering how it's not moving, right?
Exactly. So I come in there. I'm like, listen. I'm like, okay. I'm like, this is the products that I have. I'm like, let's see if there's any synergy. Let's see if we can work and kind of grow this business, right?
Yeah.
At that point, I left the job, so I wasn't doing nothing other than seat covers. And so I offered him, and we're like, let's test it out, right? And so we're doing it, and then I sell a lot of seat covers. We sell a lot of parts. We started building relationship with like nearby dealerships. Right, the location was prime. And then after that, like when I after that, when I got into like real estate, like slowly started into real estate, I told the guy, I'm like, man, because
it's way more money in real estate.
It's a lot more money. And second thing is like the business was grown to a level as well. I'm like, listen, I'm not gonna keep you stranded. What I can do is like I can find a buyer for my share, but somebody who's very experienced in the car part space. Okay. And so we did a bunch of interviews, and then I found somebody who owns a bunch of mechanic stores and that was interested in buying me out. And man, and even till this day they're running this business, but like it's crazy because like that guy at the beginning, like he was struggling, man. He wasn't getting customers, but like now I'm very humble and very nice to see that like I got the business moving, and then now it's even grown to the next level. And so from there I just sold my shares, jumped into the real estate.
That's sick.
And found my passion, I would say.
Yeah. That's awesome, bro.
So what made you go from smaller multifamilies to like the bigger multifamilies?
That's a very good question. So the way I look at it is there's not more work involved in smaller to bigger multifamilies. Maybe the way you look at the deal is different. Maybe the scale is different, the capital is different, but it's the same amount of work. And I personally found bigger multifamilies a lot easier than smaller ones, because bigger multifamilies is like a business. Smaller is like, okay, what the comps are like. You can still look at it from a cap rate perspective, NOI, but mostly it's a residential. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And so and once I made that shift of like, okay, now I have more control over bigger multifamilies, then the returns are more assured. Yeah. Because like it's all numbers, right? Yeah. And so once I make that jump, and then I found it much easier.
Okay. So just to be clear, the smaller multifamily is how many units, and bigger is how many units?
So smaller are up to 4plexes, and bigger are like anything above 4plex.
Okay. Yeah. But at the 4plex mark, it turns into a commercial mortgage, right? Instead of exactly. So usually about like 30-35% down payment instead of if it's your first one, 5% or like 10%, 10 or 20%, right?
Exactly. For smaller one, you can get a residential financing on it, which is like 80% loan to value.
Yeah.
Commercial is like 70%, let's say 70% to 65%, loan to value on the commercial side.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing is it doesn't impact you as a personal debt.
Yeah.
Right. Like
it goes to the corporation.
Exactly.
Yeah. So what would the bank look for when you're getting a commercial loan?
So like a commercial multifamily.
Yeah.
Like honestly, they would really look for the strength of the operators, like people that are gonna be on the title, right? Like see how many assets they have, what's their net worth, right? But they're more keen on the asset. They want to make sure that the asset is performing more than the individual.
Yeah. Or has the potential to.
Exactly. And then in compared to an individual, like on a smaller multifamily, like residential properties, they want to look at more on the individual,
correct,
than the asset itself, right?
Yeah.
But like with multifamilies, like there's still various different strategies that you can use. Like vendor take back is one of them, right? Yeah. Because bigger multifamilies, the investors are more sophisticated. They understand vendor take back in compared to when you go with somebody who owns a residential triplex, fourplex.
What is a vendor take back for the people in the back?
Yep. So a vendor take back is what it's a seller financing. Is when the seller gives you part of your down payment or a mortgage in first or second position in the property. So initially they become the bank, right? Yeah. So initially, let's say on a let's say a multifamily, right? You'll get let's say a 70% loan to value from the bank, right? And you're like, what? Now I have to come out with pocket for $300K. Let's suppose it's a $1 million deal, and you're like, I don't have $300K, but I really want to buy this deal, right? Hey, Mr. Seller, would you be open to giving me a $200K vendor take back as a second position after the bank? And you become the bank too. Once you make returns too. Yeah. But what the benefit that it gives me is that now I only have to come out of my pocket for $100K instead of $300K. So I can use that capital. And
what is the incentive for the seller to do a vendor take back?
So typically, like, it helps them save on capital gain taxes. So it differs out the capital gain tax. You're still paid, but like it gets spreads out.
It shows a lot less on paper.
Exactly. Yeah. And second thing is, like, they make money on their money, right? Like if I'm like, hey, I'll give you 8% return. Yeah. Against this asset, right? Yeah. And they're secured because in the event that I default on them,
they sell the asset.
Yeah, they can what's that called?
The agreement becomes null and void, and they get to keep their asset.
Yeah. No, what they can do is they can issue a power of sale.
Okay.
And recoup their money, right? Yeah. And so they're gonna get paid second. Don't get me wrong, but that's when you speak with them, right? Like, do you not believe in the asset? Do you not think that the asset is worth the price that you're selling me at? Right? Yeah. I still have 10% skin in the game. So that's how I take that conversation, but. Honestly, everything is negotiable, right? Like the way I look at any deal is like I'll give them an offer with a VTB, and I'll give them a higher offer with a VTB, and then I'll give them like no VTB offer, which is like so much lower. At that point, the seller's like, okay, if I can get rest of my money in like a year, 2 years,
and you're getting a double return because of your
exactly.
It just makes the most sense.
So it's a conversation, I would say.
Yeah.
And especially in today's market, oh man, there's gonna be a lot of opportunity for VTBs. Yeah, and that's
I like how you do that. I had to go back to that. I like how you did that strategy because like you're not just going in with one offer, you're going in with multiple options, and you're educating them through the process. I kind of do the same thing with like real estate as well. Instead of just giving like my clients just one option, I show them all their viable options, and like if this doesn't work out, you can do this, and I let them pick. And then like and I'll just kind of coach them through each option. So it's like they don't look anywhere else. They're like, oh fuck, this guy already gave me everything. Yeah. And like I don't give them the option how to pick one. They just pick one, and then like I just coach them through it. So I like how you that's fucking sick, bro.
that's the best way to do it, right? Because you don't know what option they're gonna be more lenient towards. Yeah. And like it all comes down to sales, right? When you're talking to them in person, right? Hey, I can give you this, but for this, but I can give you the other thing for this. Now you tell me what works better for you, right? And when you give them more than one option, then they're more likely to decide on one option. Yeah. In compared to you just giving one option, they're going to be like, no, I don't want it. Yeah. In this, I'm like, I'm giving you 3-4 different options.
Is it yes or yes, right?
Exactly. Yes or yes. And dude, you can get so creative. You can get so creative with all your various different options. Like it's insane. Like how much creativity that you can add in real estate transactions.
How much time do you find that you're spending with your mortgage broker? Do you find like you're building that relationship with your mortgage broker because like you got to come up with these creative like deals and stuff, right? So do you find that you're investing a lot of time, or is your mortgage broker experienced in this field and he just gives you the options?
I would say both. I would say like I negotiate a deal,
Yeah.
and then I gotta go tell my mortgage broker, okay, so this is how I want the deal to be structured.
Yeah.
These are type of financing I'm looking to get, and now give me input on what kind of products that you have that you can give me, because mortgage at the end of the day is a product.
I need your broker, by the way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
go for it, man. He's a solid guy.
Yeah.
I have more than one.
Okay.
And I have different brokers for different sort of deals,
Okay.
and that's what you want.
Yeah,
Contractors for
100%,
different type of construction.
100%.
When your take back, right? Like you can get very, very creative with
Mm.
with how you position it, and again, it all comes down to how you present it to them, right? With anything that you sell, it's all about presentation,
Yeah.
right? And also objections,
Mhm.
right? So now, if you're speaking with multiple sellers and you're offering this to them, right, and they're motivated to sell, you're like, why don't you go towards this option? It's again, you still make money, you'll still get your property sold, and your money is secured against the asset. And so so what I was gonna say as well was, right now is gonna be in the next couple of months, like I'm gonna be doing a lot of shopping for real estate. I told my partners, get ready, we're gonna go massive real estate shopping, because I would say the market is especially after the next hike, the market is gonna be a little bit slower,
Of course.
and now you have more leverage in the sense of your negotiations, right? I'm still looking now, don't get me wrong. We looked at another 1,800 building in Kitchener for 1.35.
But do you find that the interest rates are still impacting the multifamily scene? Because I find that usually, according to Grant Cardone, when the recessions and stuff start, don't the multifamily start performing better because there's more rental demand?
So from a rental perspective, 100%,
Yeah.
your rents go up,
Yeah.
right? The rents are all time high right now. It's insane. Like
it's gonna go even worse. We have another 1.3 million people coming.
Dude, we're getting for one bedroom in Waterloo.
Yeah.
We're getting around 799. One bedroom.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. And it's just a bedroom.
Yeah.
It's not an apartment. It's one bedroom, small bedroom.
That's crazy.
And so yes, from a rental perspective, it's phenomenal. You get more rents, your NOI goes up, but the back
NOI
end
is net operating.
Yeah, net operating income.
Yes.
And so what net operating income is like, when you do your gross income subtracted by all your expenses, but the mortgage, that's your NOI.
Yeah.
And so your net operating income goes up, your cap rate goes up, but the back turn for that is your cap rate for the market, also goes up, right? Because interest rates going up now, instead of your property being valued at a 4.5 cap, where the market was at when the interest rate were low, now they're looking at a 5.5 cap.
Because it's losing it to the interest.
It's losing it to interest, right? So now your valuation, is coming low, right? Like my building that in Kitchener that we have appraisal for $2.5 million after the full turnover, and we bought it for 1.35. Now we're looking more at $2.2 million valuation instead of 2.5.
Even with the rents up.
But
if you show it as a Airbnb asset, do you find that it's valued higher once the Airbnb business is in there? Even if it's cash flowing way more?
No. Yeah.
Really?
They don't care about that. They just want to see the leases.
Oh, because they want the banks obviously want the traditional long-term safe shit, right? Yeah.
Exactly. And because it has a commercial zoning, you can say that. You can legally say that, hey, I'm leasing it out to a commercial company, and that's the end of it.
You are.
And exactly. And they have their own insurance.
Yeah. Shit. I need your accountant as well.
and it's not even like even accountant. You just need a good insurance broker, and that's really what it is, man. You just gotta lease it out to your property manager and or Airbnb manager, and they run the operation, and then just have them pay you monthly income, and where you'll show that income is coming in.
It goes back in your pocket.
It goes back in your pocket.
You just took it out of this pocket and put it over here.
You got it, sir.
Yeah. And then the government took some of that too.
And you always gotta pay the government. You know.
Exactly.
So every episode we ask our guests, do you have any words of wisdom, any advice for the audience that you want to leave them with?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I would say, especially to young, inspiring, investor individuals that are looking to grow in any business, divert your focus from the business itself and keep that focus on you. Because at the end of the day, like, a business is a child that you're growing, right? And you want to make sure that you grow it the right way, because you want it to perform, XYZ. And so the more you can invest in yourself to build the skills that you need to become as a person to be able to operate a business like that, right? So I would say the biggest thing is, don't invest in the business so much, invest in yourself, because you're going to be the output of the business, right? Because if you're the CEO of your life, and if you can't run your life properly, how do you expect to run a business?
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And aside from that is, like, surround yourself with positive people. Surround yourself with people that are doing much better than you. I think I'm a big believer of that, and I think that's been the most shine, for my growth, because I always surrounded myself with people that were doing much better, and it totally changed my mindset, right? And that was second advice I would give to people, like, hang out with people that are doing much better than you.
Facts.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
You have
for sure.
Because again, I think it's a very cliche quote that it's been everywhere.
Bro, cliche is a cliche for a reason,
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like you are the average of 5 people that you hang out
Facts.
with, or you surround yourself with.
Yeah. Also, what's your why?
What's my why? That's a good question, man. Honestly, when I started out, my why was to become successfully financially free, and also give my family the life that they have never seen, and at the same time live a life that I've never seen, right? Like the motto that I go with, like, you only live once, like, so why waste it? Why not just do everything, right? Why not just like do things that you're good at, and do things that you want to grow. Nobody knows about this, and I think I'm probably saying on the first podcast, I don't think anybody knows about this. I'm actually like I love singing.
Say a word.
I love singing, right? And it's like, it's a challenge, right? Because I try to get better as I go.
Yeah.
And I have, like, I don't want to be a singer. I don't care. But if that happens, it happens, right?
Yeah.
But I enjoy the process. So I would say, like, enjoy the process on what you do.
Yeah.
Don't get so stuck with the end product. Just enjoy the process.
Yeah. Facts.
Okay.
Awesome, guys.
And one more question.
Yeah.
So if someone were to ask you, in your opinion, how do you build wealth? What would you say to them?
Good question. I would say you don't build wealth, you create wealth.
Yeah.
And you create wealth by putting resources. So the answer I would give them is, like, find high value resources and see how you can combine them to create wealth.
It's a great answer.
To create wealth. Like, and prime example of this would be, Alibaba, what the guy did. He brought together the smartest people.
Yeah.
And help him build the wealth. So I would say be the visionary.
Yeah.
Be the visionary, and then find resources to get the output that you're looking to get.
So obviously, you started off like like everybody else. You started from the bottom, and then, like, you built yourself up to some level of financial success now, right? So how has that financial success impacted your life? Like, how do you look at your day-to-day activities and your goals now that the fight or flight is out of the whole income, and you have that abundance now? Like, how has that changed your outlook towards life?
Absolutely. I would say definitely positive, because now because I am financially secured, definitely, helps a lot, but it only helps with financials, right?
Yeah. Well, that's like out of the way now, so now you can just focus on your purpose, and right?
So now the way I look at it is, like, now my next investment is myself. Like how do I grow myself, right? Aside from that, like, I value my time a lot more, right? Like, before I used to, like, anybody would call me out and I'll be like, okay, sure, let's go. Now I'm very particular with the people that I go out with, and when I go out with those people, right? Because, like, now I'm just spending more time with myself, growing myself, and travel. That's big for me now. I love to travel, and now I'm looking to travel a lot more, and just get a better understanding of myself.
Would you ever start doing international real estate investments?
Yeah, definitely. I'm actually looking in Belize now. Yeah.
Okay. As like a Airbnb thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went down there with a bunch of friends. They called me down there, and I had a wonderful time there, and real estate there is good as well. Outside of province, I've done Alberta.
Okay. Cool. How do you like the market compared to Ontario?
It's a different market. It's a cheap market, per se, especially for multifamilies, and I do see a lot of potential with that market, right? They had their price per door is it's so good, and also, like, the infrastructure that province is making, it's big, man. Right now they're not doing that well, but I would see in the long scheme of things, when Canada does welcome a lot more immigrants, I don't see why a lot of them will not want to go to Alberta, aside from their weather.
Sure.
And global warming is definitely helping there.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, guys, that was an awesome episode. We had once again Junaid, the investor, here, and I hope you guys learned a lot about multifamilies, Airbnbs, following your passion, and just being who you're meant to be. So if you guys enjoyed the episode, make sure you guys hit the like button, share it with somebody will enjoy it as well. Also hit the subscribe button because we get a new guest on our channel every second Thursday. And until then, what is possible, bro?
Wealth is possible.
There we go.